Hey guys, Miss Algar here, and you're watching part 2 of the Using Modifiers in Narrative Prose series. Today we'll be talking about two different types of modifiers, and these are the absolute and the participial, and these two things have in common verbs. They're going to act as the center of these two modifiers. So let's first start with the absolute. The absolute here has a couple of components. It includes a noun, a participle of a verb, as well as accompanying objects or additional words to help describe what's going on. Best way to learn about absolute phrases is to see it in action. And keep in mind we are looking for a noun, a participle of a verb, and possibly a couple additional objects. So let's take a look. We've got a noun here, legs, quivering, present participle of the verb quiver, her arms, folded as a past participle, and we've got across her chest as these kind of additional modifying objects. Our fingers, scraping the verb, and the leftover frosting on our plates, as the additional objects there. So let's see how they work, knowing that we've got all the components of an absolute phrase. Absolute phrases can be placed at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end. The three examples I have here have them just at the beginning or the end. So in this first one, legs quivering comes right in the beginning. So this comes back to providing that very close-up shot and moving out to a mid-shot of Gizmo here, dreaming about chasing squirrels. So you see how instead of just talking about Gizmo using adjectives, the absolute phrase helps to draw a better picture of what is happening. Next, we've got her arms folded across her chest. So we've got this here as our absolute phrase. Let me underline the first one. Again, we've got that close-up mid-shot to mid-shot pan going on here, because we can see already the image of the professor with her arms across her chest, and then when we pan out, we suddenly get the big picture. Why is it that she's got her arms folded across her chest? Lastly, our last example here has it as an add-on modifier, and this one now takes us from, let's say, a wide shot of this whole group of cousins to maybe a close-up of all of their fingers kind of scraping the leftover frosting. Okay, so you see how the absolute phrase gives you a little bit more detail of what's going on in the sentence. We're going to jump to the participial, or this can also just be called the participle phrase, and this begins with a present or past participle with objects or modifiers that complete the thought. So this one has no noun, unlike the absolute. So again, we're taking a look at the participial phrase in action. So we're looking primarily for the participle, right? And we're looking for present or past here. So let's take a look at all our verbs. So we've got trotting, which would be our present, right? Clogged would be past, and eaten would be past as well. And you'll see how these tie into the verb that you use in the actual sentence, right? So participial phrases, like absolute phrases, can be added in the beginning, in the middle, or the end. They can be introductory, interrupters, or add-on clauses. Now, the punctuation of these can sometimes be a little bit different. For example, in this first one here, we see that there is no comma. There are no commas between horse and trotting and fence and hopes. Okay, and part of this is because this participial phrase that we have here almost acts like an adjective to the horse. Okay, so in this case, the commas are not necessary. And same here with the water drained slowly and the pipe clogged with dog hair. This isn't completely necessary here with the fact that this is an add-on modifier. So there doesn't necessarily need to be a comma right here. But in this last one, eaten by mosquitoes, we do find ourselves with a comma here because, again, the comma acts as a visual cue telling you that this is separate. And also, if we had taken out this comma, it would have flowed in a much different way. You wouldn't have this pause here between eaten by mosquitoes and we wish that we had made reservations. Hotel, not campsite reservations. So the comma here does act as a visual cue separating this participial phrase. So you can see that participial phrases can be punctuated or not punctuated with commas at all, but that they are working with your participles of verbs, and you don't necessarily have that noun that comes before it, like in the absolute. So let's quickly recap here. So we learned about the absolute, and we learned about the participle or participial phrase. Now, with absolutes, you're looking at the noun and the participle, whereas the participial phrase only looks at the participle of the verb. So both of these appear as introductory, interrupters, interrupters, or add-on modifiers. And these generally just give more detailed information than simply giving adjectives do as modifiers to nouns. Alright, so if you have any questions, leave them on the bulletin board or in the comments. Thanks for watching.